Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, my friends and family and people I recently meet, they all ask me the same question. They say, Dan, how do you have the energy? And I get it. I'm the CEO of the Niagara Falls Innovation Hub, a large business incubator here in Niagara Falls. I'm also the inventor, the founder, and operator of a medical device company. I'm a father to 3 beautiful daughters, all under the age of 5. I am a husband to a loving wife. I have a house and property to maintain, a dog to walk, friends and family to visit and visit often. I try playing sports a few days a week. I try going to the gym a few days a week, and I try to be actively involved in my community as much as I can. So people ask me, how do you have the energy? I started to think, well, maybe I'm programmed differently. Maybe I'm just wired differently, or maybe I just have more natural energy than the average person. So I decided to check. And I looked at my most recent blood work, and what I found is that it was quite normal. In fact, I found that I actually have lower testosterone than the average male my age. And I know what you're thinking right now. You see the hair on my body, and you say, how is that even possible? But it's true. So I'm actually programmed to have perhaps less energy than the average person. So then I started to think, well, maybe it's my discipline. No. Maybe it's my time management. Definitely not. You can ask my colleagues about that. Or maybe I just cracked the code to balance. And what I found was something that was much more simple and much more powerful. And it's all based on this theory, a very common theory. I'm sure many of you have heard of it before. It's called the 4-burner theory. And this theory states that life is controlled by 4 burners on a stove, just like on a stove: family, work, health, and friends. And the theory states to be successful, you can only have 2 burners on. To be very successful, just 1. And I'm sure some of you have witnessed it, and I certainly have. You might know some people here in the audience who sacrifice everything for their career. They work so hard that they neglect their friends, and they end up losing friends. They work so hard and neglect their family, they end up being distant or divorced. Or they work so hard and neglect their health, and a few years later, they get a very serious diagnosis. And maybe we just thought that this was the price to pay for that achievement. But what if that was wrong? What if that was wrong? Because over the last decade, I've gotten to know some pretty amazing people. I've had them on podcasts that I interviewed. I've met them at networking events and functions. And what I noticed is that they weren't turning the burners off. They were doing something completely different. They were integrating them. And the research demonstrates that a work-life balance contributes to a better well-being, and that this well-being actually contributes to larger firm growth for entrepreneurs. The research also demonstrates that this well-being acts as a suppressor of stress and it increases their resilience. And the research also demonstrates that entrepreneurs have a good family life tend to have better entrepreneurial success. So I decided to put it to the test. I decided to experiment. I thought, what if work-life balance wasn't something static or something you need to achieve, but what if it was dynamic? What if instead of turning burners off, we were controlling them, but in real time? And what if instead of the 4 burners competing for our attention, they're all actually working to support one another? So I broke my life down, not into years, not into months, but into days and even hours. And what I noticed is that some days, work gets more attention. Some days, family does. Some days, health leads, and some days, relationships did. But here's what I did. I stopped turning them off, and I started to combine them. For example, every morning when I can, I like to walk my kids to school with my wife and my dog. That right there is family, connection, and health all in one moment. I play sports a few times a week with friends. Well, that's social and health. I like to take meetings, online meetings, and phone calls while I'm walking or pacing, kind of like I'm doing right now. Well, that's work and health. And when I work from home, well, that's family and work. So I stopped separating them, and I started to combine them. And what I found, it wasn't that I was more overwhelmed, I actually felt more aligned. Because in my opinion, it isn't that we have too many responsibilities, it's that we've been taught to experience them separately. But that's not how life works. My health affects my work. My relationships, they affect my energy, and my family affects my purpose. These things are not in competition with one another, they're all interconnected. And when you start thinking of them that way, you stop asking yourself, how do I get this work-life balance? You start saying, how do I design my life so I can create a system that supports it? Now, is every day perfect? No, of course not. Some days are quite honestly messy. Some days, one burner needs more attention than another. But after a while, it all levels out. And not because you forced that balance, it's because you designed a system that supports it. So when people ask me now, Dan, how do you have the energy? The answer is I don't. I don't have the energy. I just don't waste my energy fighting my own life. Because in my opinion, success isn't what you build professionally. It's how you live while you're building it. It's having the health to enjoy it, the relationships to share it, and the presence to actually experience it. So here's my challenge to you. Here's my challenge. Stop turning your burners off. Start turning them on, but together. Design your days differently. Think smaller. Think integrated. Because success isn't a life where you sacrifice everything for one thing. It's a life where everything works as one together. And that, my friends, is a holistic entrepreneur. Thank you.